Gayatri, chief guest is out. He has been sent out. Please allow him to come inside, Gayatri.
I
Gayatri, are you
joined,
here?
ma'am.
Yes, sir.
I
Yes, sir.
joined, ma'am.
Yes. Surya, please continue, Surya.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, one and all. The purpose of education is to make good human beings with skill and expertise. Enlightened human beings can be created by teachers. With these wonderful words of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, I welcome you all to the National Virtual Seminar Series, Day 5, organized by the Department of English, MB Muthaiya Government Arts College for Women, Dindigul. Gratitude is twofold: love coming to visit us and love running out to greet a welcome guest. Yes, it's time to welcome everyone present here. It's my pleasure to call upon the most insightful and innovative Dr. K. Sumati, Assistant Professor of English, who is the convener of today's National Virtual Seminar, to welcome the gathering and introduce our chief guest, Dr. G.A. Ghanshyam, Professor of English and OSD, Directorate of Higher Education, Chhattisgarh, Raipur, among us.
Thank you, Surya.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Good
you.
morning,
ma'am.
everyone. Good morning, everyone. It's a very great pleasure and honor to welcome you all for the fifth day National Virtual Seminar Series on Mend the Minds. Our National Virtual Seminar Series, right from 15/7/2021, all the sessions were very enlightening, thought-provoking, and informative. The resource persons were highly vibrant, they were exuberant, well-read, versatile, zealous, and magnanimous. They are very generous too to the core. Such brainstorming and spellbound sessions wouldn't have been possible without the support of our beloved dear ma'am principal. I am much delighted to welcome our respected principal ma'am, Dr. V. Anuradha, an erudite scholar, renowned educationist, and a very dynamic personality. Dear ma'am, I thank you personally and on behalf of the Department of English for your constant support and enthusiastic response in the successful completion of every challenges we face here. Once again, welcome, dear ma'am. I am much honored to welcome our today's chief guest, Dr. Shyam Iyengar, Professor of English and Officer on Special Duty, Directorate of Higher Education, Chhattisgarh, Raipur, for having been accepted our invitation to deliver lecture on Blend the Trends and Mend the Minds. His intellect nature and readiness in accepting the duties, in spite he is very humble, made me to look at him very tall. He started his career as a school teacher for 5 years. His 26 years of teaching experience in college elevated him to receive Fellow of Royal Asiatic Society of Great Britain and Ireland. He is also a Fellow of Independent Scholars, International University of Humanities and Social Sciences of Pazu, Costa Rica. To his credit, he has published 14 books and 96 research papers in the international and national refereed journals. 7 of his scholars were awarded PhD. Dr. Shyam has delivered 96 talks, conducted 75 workshops on language, literature, and soft skills. Sir is the founder of Indian Society for the Promotion of English Language and the Literature, and also founder of International Forum of English Education and Literature. It's really a very proud moment and honor for me to invite and welcome the in-charge officer of state level quality assurance cell of Chhattisgarh State, Dr. Shyam. Once again, I extend a very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm
Thank
much
you very much.
delighted. Yes, I'm much delighted to welcome our special invitees, Dr. Vardarajan from Tyagaraja College, Madurai, Dr. Sanjay Prasad Sharma, Uttar Pradesh, and Dr. Arjit. Friends, your presence strengthens the bond of academia. And I would like to convey my special thanks to Dr. Vardarajan for fixing up versatile resource persons like Dr. Gangane, Dr. Praveen Joshi, Dr. Amar Singh. All sessions were very mind-blowing, sir. So thank you so much for fixing up a wonderful resource person and bringing them to this platform. Thank you, Dr. Vardarajan. I have got a privilege in inviting my head of the department and one of the organizing secretary, Dr. G.S. Angelin. She is very amiable and amicable, whose friendly approach is the greatest strength of the department. Welcome, dear ma'am.
Thank you.
It gives me immense pleasure in inviting my senior colleague, Dr. Enola Aruchalvi Parvata, a very adaptable and diligent person who rendered constant support right from day one in organizing the National Virtual Seminar Series successfully. Though all of us in the department are part and parcel of the program, it's my bounden duty to welcome my colleagues and friends, the technical supporters, guest faculties, and my beloved children for the 5th Day National Virtual Seminar Series. Welcome you all once again. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much for your warm welcome address and introducing a versatile and vibrant academician among us. Leaders instill in their people a hope for success and a belief in themselves. Positive leaders empower people to accomplish their goals. Now, I would like to invite our discerning, discriminating, and dynamic Madam Principal to deliver presidential address.
Thank you, Dr. Surya.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I thank God for making us healthy. We are in 5th day, I mean the last session of this national webinar series. We have crossed 4 meaningful topics: the eco-criticism, blending advanced technology for effective teaching, the role of literature and life management in pandemic, a burning issue to nature and literature. And today we are going to discuss about an essential topic: blend the trends and mend the minds. On behalf of our MVM family, I wholeheartedly invite our chief guest, Dr. G.A. Ghanshyam, Professor of English and OSD, Directorate of Higher Education, Chhattisgarh, Raipur. A warm welcome to you, sir. Blending the trends and mending the minds are very important topics to be discussed separately. It's very challenging for our eminent chief guest to discuss the two great topics together today. And I hope he will justify the session interestingly. Actually, blending the trends is very difficult one, but our literary people are doing this job very diplomatically. In Tamil, we were having a special type of poem, Venba, in the period of Tolgapiyar, 2nd century BC. In 1st century AD, our great poet Thiruvalluvar composed Tirukural in Kural Venba format for making an exclusive moral literature. Likewise, in 14th century, Pugalendi Pulavar used that Venba format for telling the story of King Nala, which was entitled Nalavenba. That format is still in picture, and so many creative literature is being published in Venba Yapu even today. Okay, now let's see the topic, mending the minds. It's also a very critical, but as usual, our creators are mending the minds diplomatically. In Tamil, our Selapadigaram is a great example for this. Only male, especially king characters, are very dominant on those days, and it reflected automatically in literature field all over the world. But our great Tamil poet Ilango collapsed that idea by his Selapadigaram by creating a female character named Kannagi, who was belonging to a trade family. He mended the people's minds to a female character as a dominant one. We are eagerly waiting for your valuable ideas about these topics, sir. Our students are very studious and jovial. You can take this session in an interactive mode also. Before closing my presidential address, I appreciate Dr. Angeline, HOD of English, for organizing this national webinar series with our soldiers, the professors of English department. I extend the appreciations to the soldiers, Dr. Enola Aruchelvi Parvata, Dr. K.M. Sumati, Professor Hemalata, Professor Surya Prabha, Dr. Rajaram, Dr. Saktivel, Professor P. Vimala Rani, Dr. Kartika Devi, and all the guest lecturers for being engaged and involved in these wonderful sessions. We, myself and our beloved students, are very thankful to you. I extend, dear students, be attentive and make the session meaningful. All the best. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, madam. Your speech has motivated, stimulated, and induced us. Thank you for your power-packed presidential address. Claire Fagin
Thank you.
said, yes, thank you, ma'am. Claire Fagin said, knowledge will bring you the opportunity to make a difference. My joy knows no bounds to invite our guest of honor, Dr. G.A. Ghanshyam, to enlighten the elated gathering with his words of wisdom. Sir, the hour is yours now. Please, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. A very
Thank you,
warm
sir.
good morning to each and everyone. And indeed,
Morning,
I'm
sir.
blessed. I'm blessed to be here. A very good morning to the principal and the entire staff members of this prestigious college, and also very dear students and the people, those who have joined on this virtual platform. A very good morning, and it's a pleasure talking to you. Ma'am, can you please let me know the time slot for me? It's 11:23 now.
12:30, sir?
Right, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hope my screen is visible. Is it visible,
Yes.
ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Is it visible? It is visible.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
So all the time in this pandemic, we are facing a lot of problems. A lot of challenges are always there in front of us. And when we face the challenges do help us to see the opportunities. And if a person who doesn't see the opportunities in challenges is going to miss something. And all the time, being the teachers, I don't call all of us as teachers. I would like to call all of us as educators, because the basic need is to educate the people. And what's education is? Education says, educate the nation. That's what education is. The way you educate the people, the way you make the people think, the way you make the people feel, the way you make the people understand, that's what is known as the soft skill. And if it is soft, but it is very difficult to learn, it's very hard to learn, but we call it soft skills. And we need to prepare our students for the soft craft. And when I say craft, there is an art in the craft. So that art has to be learned by the teachers and students as well. When we move from pandemic, in this entire 1.5 years time, we have seen pandemic to pan academic. We have moved from pandemic to pan academic. The people whom we haven't seen the people whom we haven't even talked, all of them, they were available on the virtual platform. And this virtual platform had made us the real platform to interact with many of the people. So what is the need for this? Why all these things are happening? And how come this very small invisible thing called corona has made us to bow down to the technologies? And now we started using technologies like anything. Previously, we were using our cell phones only 10 to 15%. May I request the organizers kindly mute others, please? Earnest request to mute others, please. We were using only 10 to 15% of the cell phones, and now we are using it to the tune of 50 to 60%. Every individual has become techno-savvy. And when I say techno-savvy, each and every individual has become, it means that we are exposing ourselves to the cell phones. We are not only exposing ourselves, but we are using it. And we are making the students to use it in a much better way. And that's what is known as blend the trend to mend the minds. If you are not going to blend, ma'am, may I request people to mute themselves, please? Organizer, ma'am. Ma'am, can you listen to me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can listen to you.
Please mute them, ma'am.
Please mute, sir.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
Deepa Ramasamy and B. Logeshwari ரெண்டு பேர் திறந்து வச்சிருக்காங்க மேம். இப்ப பேசுனது தீபா ராமசாமில இருந்து.
Ma'am, kindly you can mute them, ma'am.
Ma'am, mute பண்ணாலும் unmute பண்ண.
Either you remove them, ma'am, if they are disturbing. You can remove them. Yes, ma'am. Please remove them.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
Because others are getting disturbed. Yeah, others are getting disturbed. Yes. When I say blend the trend, if you see the word blend, if you are not going to blend, then you are not going to lend. And if you are not going to lend, then you are going to end. So the very beautiful word blend says, if you do not have the capacity and the ability to blend, then you cannot lend. And if you cannot lend, then you are going to end. So we must not end the very purpose of education, but we must blend the purpose of education, and then we must lend it to our students. What to blend? We need to blend all the trends which are being shown to us, which we know. And then we need to mend the minds, because our younger generation, they are moving very fast. They are much, much faster than our own generation. So when they are running very fast, what is needed is we need to mend their minds. And when you mend their minds, then that mind will become more and more creative. That mind will become more and more healthier. That mind will become more and more analytical. So we need a critical, analytical, and positive mind, so that the positive vibes could be created. When I say this, then I always say, enrich the mind. And how to enrich the mind? The mind could be enriched with the help of knowledge. The teachers are there to provide the knowledge. The students may say, in the age of technology, when Dr. Google and Professor Wikipedia are there, what is the need of a teacher?
Application
Should I stop here? Should I continue?
Please, sir. Please, sir. Continue, sir.
Yeah, if people want to talk, let them talk, ma'am. I will continue later. When I say enrich the mind, when I say enrich the mind with the help of knowledge, why to enrich the mind? The students may say, sir, we have Professor Google and Dr. Wikipedia. Then what's the need of the teacher? Absolutely right. When Dr. Google and Professor Wikipedias are there, what is the need of a teacher? The need of a teacher will never be replaced by any kind of technology in this world, because the technology can have only the intelligent quotient and the artificial intelligence. But the teacher has intelligent quotient, emotional quotient, social quotient and the spiritual quotient. So that's why any teacher in this world can never be replaced by any of the technologies. Let what may come, the teacher will remain a teacher. A teacher can convert himself to a facilitator, and the facilitator can convert himself or herself to an educator. So enrich the mind with the help of knowledge, and then warm the heart. The feelings are to be known. The feelings are to be tapped. The teachers must understand the feelings of the students, and the students in turn must understand the feelings of the teachers. So when we start feeling, then there is no sympathy, there is only empathy. So we need to develop empathy also. That's what blending the trend. We should not show any sympathy towards student, but we need to understand the empathetic things of the students. And in turn, the students will also understand the empathetic things of the teachers as well. And third one is awaken the spirit. Awaken the spirit with the help of consciousness. So this is what we call the blending of knowledge, feelings, and consciousness together, wherein the mind, heart, and the spirit will be blended. When I say blending all these things is important, then what is curriculum? The curriculum which we study in undergraduate and postgraduate, what is actually curriculum is? Curriculum basically is a tool in the hands of an artist. And who is the artist? The teacher is an artist. To mold his material. And who is the material? The students or the pupil or the material, according to his ideal. And what is the ideal? The objective in the studio. And which is the studio? The school or the college. Wonderful definition. Curriculum is the tool in the hands of an artist to mold the material according to his ideal in her studio. So the classroom is entirely a studio where the teacher is totally 100% autonomous. Give the teacher even the redundant syllabus, the teacher will make it very interesting. And give the teacher very boring curriculum, the teacher can make it very interesting. And give the teacher very interesting syllabi, the teacher can make it boring. So it entirely depends in the hands of the teacher how to convert it, how to mold it, and how to change the classroom into a very important and beautiful studio. So that's the ability of a teacher. So that's why, being the teachers, what we need to do is we need to enrich, we need to inspire, and we need to empower the students. Empowering shows I am the powerful person. When the teachers, all the teachers, they come together and just instill all the qualities and abilities in the students, then the students will feel as if they are highly empowered. We need every individual to be empowered by the teachers. And for that, the teachers are to be empowered. The teachers are to be enthusiastic. The teachers are to be inspired. The teachers are to be enriched. And that's what is blending of the trend, so that we can mend the minds. The curriculum which we study could be looked with two angles. One is the traditional view and another one is the progressive view. We will see the traditional one. The traditional one focuses on the fundamental intellectual, like what we are studying. We are studying grammar, we are studying literature, we are studying writing, we even study history, geography, foreign language, mathematics, whatnot. But any of our curriculum is not making us to reach our goal. So what's the use of this kind of a curriculum which is not meant for our bread and butter, which is not empowering us, which is not making us to learn many of the skills? And in the job market, all our students are of no use. That's what Chetan Bhagat has said long back, that nearly 70 to 80% of our engineering graduates are unemployable. When he says unemployable, it means they have the knowledge, but they do not have the skills. And if they do not have the skills, take out S, what remains? Kills. The society kills. Why the society kills? Take out K, because they are ill. So let the students not be ill, not be killed, fill them with the skills. And that's the need of the hour. And that's what is very important in the progressive point of view of our curriculum. What is the progressive point of view? progressive point of view says curriculum is defined as a total learning experience, the holistic development of an individual. And when I say holistic development of an individual, then thought is not received or derived from action, but tested with the help of application. So the knowledge need to be applied. And on the basis of the application, we must learn whatever we are learning. Not the textual thing is important. Not the theoretical things are important, but the practical aspect is more and more important in the lives of the teachers and students as well. When I say progressive point of view, all experiences children have under the guidance of the teacher. So teacher becomes the mentor, teacher becomes the guide. And that's why we say we teachers have to be not the sages on the stage, but we should be the guide on the side. I repeat, we teachers must not be the sages on the stage, but we must be the guide on the side. And when we become the guide on the side of the students, when we put our hand on their shoulders saying, I am there in all your difficulties. You can call me, you can remember me, you can send me messages, I am there for you. Then see how the student, they bounce to a greater level. The moment you say, I am there for all your difficulties, the students feel as if the teacher is the key for all the locks. And that's what, where you are blending the trend and mending their minds. The moment you start doing that, you are there with the students. And what Marsh and Willis says, they say experience in the classroom which are planning and entered by the teacher and also learned by the students. The kind of an atmosphere which is being created by the teacher in the classroom makes the students to come forward. We need to understand the slow learners and the fast learners. Then we need to have a pace in our own way of deliberation, how to manage the fast students and how to manage the slow students. And it's the job of the teacher to make the classroom more and more interactive, more and more viable, more and more influential, more and more inspirational. And the students will be the center of attraction. And the students will be the sun, and the teachers will be all planets which will be moving around the sun. So that's what we call it as student-centric approach. And when we start that student-centric approach, Ralph Taylor has given a model. In that model, he said, what is the purpose of education? The educational purpose should the school seek to attain. So every college and every institution has a purpose to attain. And what's that? The second thing he says, experience can be provided that are likely to attain these purpose. What kind of an experiential learning we can bring so that the very given purpose could be attained. Third, how can these experiential or educational experience be effectively organized? What is the way to organize it effectively? How to understand it is going to affect the students and it will create a great deal of effect in the minds and hearts of the learners. And the fourth one is, how can we determine whether these purposes are being attained or not? That's what NAAC says, the learning outcome, program outcome, course outcome, program specific outcome, and the last one is learning outcome. If there is no outcome of learning, then learning is of no use. And learning is a beautiful word. If our students really want to earn, then they have to learn. So take out L of learn, you will find earn. So the moment you want to earn, you need to learn first. So learning is very important for earning. And this is what we call Ralph Taylor's model. Then Hilda Tauber model. In Hilda Tauber model, she improved the model of Ralph Taylor. And she said, the very first thing is to diagnose the learner's needs. All the educational institutions must understand the needs and demands and expectations of the larger society. Society means the students and the stakeholders. We need to understand when we prepare the syllabus, we need to understand the local needs and local demands. Then formulation of the learning objectives. What are the objectives? And why a student has to learn all these things? Then comes selection of the learning content. Which content is suitable? The board of studies are being created only to select the content based on the needs and demands of the stakeholders. Then organization of the learning content. Which content will come first, which will come second, which will come later, and why it should come in that particular order. And then the selection of the learning experiences. When we teach it to the students, then we will see how the students are learning it, and then organization of the learning activities. Whatever activities we conduct, we have to organize it. And then the last one is determination of what to evaluate. The evaluation comes later. And that's what Bloom's taxonomy also says the same thing. So in this way, every curriculum has to be made. So the basic thing is, when the trends are going in this way, then we need to blend the trends according to the needs and demands of the society and the stakeholders. We are not here to teach about the past in the present to prepare the students for the future. We are here to teach the students of the future things in the present, not the past things in the present, to prepare the students for the future. And that's why our students are going to be misfit in the future. Our students are becoming unemployable in the future because we are teaching of the past in the present and preparing the students for the future. So that has to be always kept in mind when we prepare this kind of syllabus of ours. So what is the use? What is the use of this kind of a thing? Acquisition of concrete knowledge and skills, developing the ability, and also the reason systematically about the critical questions and issues, to place the facts in the broader context relating to the society, to consider the moral implications of actions and choices, and to communicate the knowledge effectively and questions effectively. Inquiry is the highest wisdom. So every student must be made to inquire in the classroom. If the classroom is not of inquiry based, then it will be monotonous. So the classroom should never be monotonous. To nurture the habits to promote lifelong learning behavior, and also to develop the skills to analyze synthesis and augmentation. And the pressure of the present time. What is the pressure of the present time? The pressure of the present time is, for example, if I say the pressure is to equip the students with the expertise in the academic programs. So all the programs, whatever we start, we need to equip the students. We need to give the students a wide range of transferable skills. All the skills we need to impart. We need to teach the students. Rather, we need to make the students understand the 21st century skills. If we are not making our students to understand the 21st century skills, there is no use of teaching. What is the use of teaching grammar for such a long time when our students are unable even to speak a single sentence in English? Right from the primary level, we are teaching them grammar. And even in the college, we are teaching them grammar. And all the students, they have become the crammers of grammar. But most of them are unable to speak English. They run away from English as if English has come from the skies. We need to make the students understand English is equal to Tamil. English is equal to Kannada. English is equal to Hindi. English is equal to any other language in the world. And in South, you see, most of the people, they use English in Tamil, English in Kannada, English in Malayalam, English in Telugu. None of them, they speak fully in Tamil or Telugu or Kannada or in Malayalam. They use many of the words of English. Why? Because listening makes them to understand all those words. Even an illiterate person, he uses English in his way of speaking. So let all of us come together to create a kind of an atmosphere of learning, an environment of learning, so that our students can speak this, to enable them to play effective role in the employment sector. Why the students are coming to the college? And what is the gross enrollment ratio of the college? The gross enrollment ratio of the college must increase every year. Why? to prepare postgraduate and graduate students those who are unemployable? Certainly not. We need to make them highly employable. We need to fill in them the very required skills so that they can compete in the job market. And to design employability based curriculum, the curriculum should be having entrepreneurship development. The curriculum should have project based curriculum. The curriculum should be experiential learning, wherein the students can involve themselves. There is a beautiful Chinese proverb which says, tell me, I forget. Tell me, I forget. Show me, I remember. Involve me, I understand. So if we involve the students, then they will understand. If we only show them, they forget. They may keep it for some time, but the moment you involve them, the moment they understand the experience of learning, that will be long lasting for them and they will remember it forever. So that's what is needed in the educational sector to blend the trend, shift from the specialized approach to multidisciplinary approach. Even the new education policy 2020 speaks of multidisciplinary institutions. It speaks of multidisciplinary universities, just like the Gurukul, wherein the Gurukul, every student has been given the knowledge of all the disciplines, then the mastery of one particular subject. Like Arjuna knew it very well how to use other things also, even better than any other thing. But he was the master of archery. Bhima was the master of the Gada, right? But he too knew it well how to use the tactics and the skills of archery. So every individual need to be trained in such a way that he should imbibe all the knowledge of multidisciplines. And when multidisciplines will be there, then the student can stand in the job market and he can improvise his own skills on the basis of the knowledge which he has gathered from the studio called the school or the college. So that's the pressure. And when we say the pressure, there are 6 I's which are very important. We must teach the students to introspect. And for that, we need to learn what is introspection. We need to inspect ourselves internally. What am I doing? What are my skills? What are my positive traits? What are my negative traits? What are my challenges? What are my opportunities? We call it SWOT analysis. The SWOT analysis is to be done. Then inquiry, why this is happening? Why not in this way? Why in this way? When the child takes birth, the child is a complete human being. But the moment the child gets into the society starts killing him. His inquiry skills, they deteriorate because the society pressurizes the child into something else. So the inquiry deteriorates and the child gradually becomes the slow learner because the society has a great deal of pressure on it. You see the children, they ask n number of questions and you are fed up with these questions. But when they come to the school, gradually we teachers become the Hitlers and Mussolinis and we say, there should be a pin drop silence in my class. And when the students, they ask some question, and if the teacher is unable to answer them, the teacher put forth another question which the student doesn't know. And then we show our own supremacy on the students. This should not happen. I don't say the teachers know everything. If we do not know at that moment of time, we can say to the student, I'll get back to you tomorrow with some more information on it, but I am not sure right now. That's the very better way of saying to the students and the students to understand you well. Inquiry skill is to be nurtured. Inclusion, including the students in all the activities. It should not be one-way process. It should be a two-way process. Then innovation, how to create new things out of the old one. How to see out of the box. How to read between the lines. And what is hidden in between the lines. All those things are innovation. And that's what research is. What is research? Research is searching something from the things which are available. Once again, searching it. Once again, knowing it. Once again, understanding it. That's what innovation is. Then implementation, using it, applying it, to see to it what kind of a result we can see out of it, and then bringing the insight out of it. So these 6 C's are to be learned, are to be practiced, are to be brought into the focus by the teachers in front of the students, so that all the students can learn these things. And that's very important. And the initiatives that are to be taken is development of need-based and socially relevant programs. What are the need-based programs? Even the relevant curriculum in the fast-changing world. As I said, the needs and demands of the society and the stakeholders are to be taken care of when we prepare the syllabus. So if particular area needs such kind of a syllabus, then that kind of a syllabus is to be designed. And that's what NEP says. NEP gives a lot of prominence and importance to the vernaculars, the languages. Even with the help of those vernacular languages, we can make the students vibrant. We can make the students empowered. It's not English which is going to empower all the students. Even the vernacular languages can also empower the people. Just now you talked about Thiruvalvar. Just now you talked about Subramaniam Bharati. All these people, they wrote in their vernacular and they have become such a great poet. Pampa, Ranna, Honna, Kuvempu, all these people, they have written in their vernacular languages, but they have become the prominent figure of Indian literature. And when I talk of Indian literature, these all people, they have not only raised their voices, but they have raised their voices from the margin to the center, and they have become the center of attraction. And that's what relevant curriculum is needed in the fast changing world. Then emerging areas for innovative and interdisciplinary areas are to be seen by the teacher. Periodic restructuring of updating of the courses is the need of the hour, which can meet the international standard. So whenever we think of the curriculum, we must think of the local and act for the global. If we do not think of the local, then who is going to think of the local? So think locally and act globally. That should be the watchword for each one of us. And then comes extensive and intensive academic exercise for restructuring the sources. So these exercises must involve all the students together. So these initiatives must be taken by the higher education institutions. Then I come to the 7 skills which the students always need. The curious mind and the imaginative mind is to be nurtured by the teachers. Then the initiative is to be taken for entrepreneurship. The agility and adaptability has to be there. Critical thinking and problem solving skills, which is known as the 21st century skill, is to be enriched. There has to be a paradigm shift from lots to hots. What is lots? Lots means low order thinking skills, and hots means high order thinking skills. So there has to be a paradigm shift from the lots to the hots, and the students must be trained in the oral and written communication, because communication is the basic thing for life. If you are unable to communicate, the accident is going to occur. Even when we drive the car on the road, when we show the light is also a kind of communication. We are communicating to the person who is coming from that side that my light is there, means I need to go first, then you come. So that's the communication, which is the key of every life. Collaboration, collaborating with the institutions, collaborating with the groups, collaborating with the friends, and improving the networking, which is very important for collaborative learning. So collaboration, cooperation, and coordination is required. And in English, there is a beautiful word called W&E. What is W&E? W&E means we. So cooperation is spelled by 2 letters. W and E is equal to we. When I say we, means it's collaborative effort. And that's what is accessing, analyzing the information. All the information we receive, we need to access it and we need to analyze it. That's what these 7 skills every student must understand and need to develop. And when the students, they develop this kind of a thing, then the personality factors, they do remain. When I say blending the trends, the trend in the market is we need the students to have a wonderful personality. When I say about the personality, there are three kinds of personality. One is introvert, another one is extrovert, and the third one is ambivert. Extrovert personality, for example, in cricket, if I take Sourav Ganguly, the extrovert personality. Introvert personality, Sachin Tendulkar was highly introvert. Ambivert personality, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Captain Cool. Even when he lost the match, his face was very cool. Even when he won the World Cup, his face was very cool. So we need to develop all these traits in our personality. And what are the factors of personality? Biological factors are there, sociological factors are there, psychological factors are there. And in psychological, intelligence, motivation, emotion, attitude, interest, all these things, they come. In social factors, the home, school, language, culture. And in biological factor, the physics, the nervous system, all these things come. So every individual need to develop the personality. And when we teach to the students all the time, they are observing the teacher. They copy the teacher also. They even mimic the teacher also. It means the students have been affected by the teacher. A great deal of impact has been created by the teacher on the minds and hearts of the students. So in this world, only one person can lure the entire students. Only one person can touch the heart and minds of the students, is none other than the teacher. So the teacher has an important role in the society to play. The teacher has to be very dynamic. The teacher has to be very vibrant. The teacher has to be very generous. The teacher needs to be fully filled with all the skills to tap the needs and demands of the students. So then we call a teacher is a star who teaches others how to shine. So let all the teachers, they become the star and make all other stars to shine. And your shining capacity must flow to the other stars, and they will also feel as if they are the stars. So the teacher needs to energize, guiding in motion, involving the students, encouraging the students, and enabling them. Rather than calling unable, we need to make them enable. So unable to enable is a paradigm shift. Unable to enable is blending the trend. Unable to enable is mending the minds. So this is what the basic thing is. Even in nonverbal communication, all these things that all of you know, that comes, the posture, the appearance, the head movement, the hand movement, eye movement, how the eyeballs are rotating, the pauses, the sound, the closeness, body contact, facial expression. I always tell my students, what do you see in the mirror every day when you get up? They say, sir, we see our own face. The second day, we see our own face. The third day, sir, what are you talking? Every day we see our own face, sir. Then in turn, they ask me, sir, what do you see in the mirror? I say, I see what I am going to become in the mirror. And that's what my mirror shows to me. And that's the duty of the mirror to show me. And that's the objective of my life. So if the mirror shows you what you want to become in future, then the mirror is your real friend. Then you have that thing in your mind. So whatever there is in your mind and heart is to be seen in the mirror. So if the mirror shows what you want to become every day, you will dream like that. And that's what President Abdul Kalam has said. Every individual has to dream while sleeping, but the dream should not let you sleep. So let's dream big, because dreaming doesn't require a single penny. Dream is yours. And if you don't dream, then you start screaming. So it's better to dream rather than scream. So we need to understand this. And watch your crowd. the elements of personal communication. We all say spoken English, spoken English, spoken English. We don't have vocabularies, we don't have words. How can we speak English? See, only 7% are the spoken words. 38% is the voice, the tone, and 55% is the body language. If you combine 38 plus 55, it comes to 93%, and just 7% as the spoken words. Now, you just let me know how much of vocabulary you need to speak any language of the world. You need to understand the tone, you need to understand the voice, and you need to understand the body language. And if you just observe people, you will understand everything. I always say to my students, no language laboratory is required to learn any languages, rather even English, because society can teach you much better than the language labs. Because society has so many people together, and you can see the people, the way they talk, the way they walk, the way they smile, the way they shout, the way they utter the words, everything you can see as far as application is concerned. So if you just come out of your language lab, if you get into the society, you will see the people are talking in different types, and all those types will be there for you to learn. So that's why observe, and when you observe, then you serve for the society, and that's what is required from every individual. And all of us need to be tolerant. Tolerance is the fundamental character or trait of a great people and a part of the attitude and practices of those who admire and respect. People without tolerance are diminished and poor. So tolerance has to be there. If you have tolerance, then you can reach you are becoming the tall person. So tolerance makes you tall. So we need to understand that tolerance is the only thing which can lead us, which can make us to go tall. And this is what the need of the hour is. These are the people, as far as Indian English writings is concerned. All the great people are there. If you see their faces, you can recognize them. And these are the people, those who have absolutely changed the trend of Indian writings in English. If you see nationalism, it started from Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, Aurobindo, Sarojini Naidu. Individual and society, all these great authors like Rajarao, Mulk Raj Anand, Arun Joshi, Salman Rushdie. Women empowerment, Bharti Mukherjee, Manju Kapoor, Shobha De, Shashi Deshpande, Anita Desai, Kiran Desai. Urbanization, Manohar Balgaonkar, Khushwant Singh, Amitabh Ghosh, Vikas Swarup. East and West encounter, all these thematic concerns were taken by R.K. Narayan, Rutprawar Jhabwala, Jhumpal Lahiri, Bharti Mukherjee, Anita Desai. And Indianness, R.K. Narayan, Salman Rushdie, V.S. Naipaul, Shashi Tharoor. And Salman Rushdie was the basic trend setter for all these new authors. All these new authors were highly motivated and inspired by Salman Rushdie. And liberty, Raja Rao, Rabindranath Tagore, voice of the marginalized, bringing the marginalized from the margin to the center, Mahashweta Devi, Arvind Adiga, the family relationships, myth and mythology, love, sex and marriage in most of the modern writers. So these writers, what are they doing? They are just blending the trend and mending the minds of the people. So all these writers from the local, they have reached the global. So think locally and act globally. That's the mixing of the trend. And that's what was done. All the people of literature, we study Shakespeare. And we say our own Kalidasa as the Shakespeare of India. Friends, I'm very sorry to say, Shakespeare is not, Kalidasa is not the Shakespeare of India, but Shakespeare is the Kalidasa of the Western world. That's the most important thing we need to learn. Kalidasa is not the Shakespeare of India, but Shakespeare is the Kalidasa of the Western world. Kalidasa was much more superior than Shakespeare. We haven't understood the basic instincts of Kalidasa. We haven't seen Kalidasa. We haven't even studied Kalidasa to a greater extent. And all our literature that taught us only Shakespeare, but not Kalidasa. The great artist Kalidasa, who took birth in India, has become the magnificent and magnanimous human being, magnanimous artist in the world. But we fail to understand Kalidasa. Near Sarguja, there is a beautiful place called Ramgarh. And in Ramgarh, Kalidasa has written Meghdoot, the famous drama written by Kalidasa, Meghdoot. And there he enacted the play Meghdoot. And that place is known as the world's first biggest open air theater in the world. So world's first open air theater where Kalidasa enacted Meghdoot is in Chhattisgarh. So we don't know about it. We know many things about Shakespeare, but who is going to tell us more about Kalidasa? Who is going to make Kalidasa the superior artist in the world? The entire responsibility lies on the shoulders of us, we teachers and the students. When you start comparing Kalidasa with Shakespeare, you will find Kalidasa stands poles apart from Shakespeare. So that's the beauty of Indianness. And that's the beauty of our artists, those who haven't seen the light of the day. So it is for us to blend the prevailing trend and make the students to mend it and make the students to understand it. The modern English authors, they focus on the contemporary issues, gay relationship, marital affairs, family issues, cultural conflict, alienation, social problem, whatnot. There are so many writers, those who have come up with all these themes, and they too started blending the things. And the trendsetters, as I mentioned, Salman Rushdie, Bapsi Sidhwa, Rohinton Mistry, Shashi Tharoor, Naipal, Shobha De, Amitabh Ghosh, Chetan Bhagat, Chitra Banerjee, Jhumpa Lahiri, Vikram Seth, Sudha Murthy, Upamanyu Chatterjee, and in the recent time, Amish Tripathi, all these people, they are blending the trends. Even the narratives, the local narratives, the folklore, the folk art, the folk culture, all these things could be blended together. We need to make our students understand the folk culture, the folk literature, and the folk language, because we, being the indigenous people of the country, need to understand our own culture first, than going and understanding the Western culture later. There has to be a blending of the Indian culture with the Western culture. And these are the modern basic approaches, feminist-centered approach, man-woman relationship. I spoke about all these things. I'll move on. I'll move on to the then. Value education. What is value education? Education opens up our mind, but value education gives us purity of heart too. So we need to instill the purity of heart in the minds of the students. Education provides us with skills, but value-based education provides us sincerity. This is what mending the mind is. Education extends our relationship with the world, but value-based education links us with our own family and members. And this is what Corona has done in this 1.5 years. It made us to understand the family relationships. It made us to understand the value of our family. It made us to understand, to knit a wonderful bond between the family members. Education makes our living better, but value education makes our life better too. So what we need a better life. So value education is needed there. Education teaches us to compete with others, but value education encourages us to be complete too. So we need to be a kind of an Ubuntu. Do you know what is Ubuntu? A foreigner went to South Africa and he was having a bunch of toffees with him. And he kept the toffee after 200 meters and he called all the children and he said, one who reaches first will have all the toffees. He said, students, my dear children, you stand here. They all stood in a row. He said, I'll say 1, 2, 3. And after 3, one who reaches 200 meters will have all the toffees. The children said, okay, sir. He said 1. Then he said 2. And as soon as he said 2, he saw some movement is happening. And as soon as he said 3, he saw that all the children, they spread their hands like this. And all of them, they hold each other's hand and they ran together. And all of them, they reached the particular destination together. and they distributed the toffees among themselves. That's what is known as cooperation, collaboration, and coordination. Who has won the match? Everyone has won the match. And who got the toffees? All of them, they got the toffees. That's what Ubuntu is. We need to grow together. We need to walk together. We are not here to compete, but we are here to complete ourselves. That's what is value education. Education makes us a good professional, but value education makes us whole human too. Holistic development of an individual. Inclusive growth has to be attained. Education takes us to the top, but value-based education takes the whole society on the top. So we need to take all the people together onto the top. Education gives us the capacity for better learning, but value-based education is a tool for the deeper understanding of the human being. And somebody said, literature makes people human being. We need to have a paradigm shift from human being to being human. And we are born human beings. And all the education must make us to be being human than human being. That's the value education is. Education may bring limitations, but value-based education brings liberation. Sa vidyaya vimuktaye. You need to come out of your all bondages, all clutches, and you should be free in the world. We need to convert the larva we get into a beautiful butterfly. The metamorphosis of a larva into a butterfly is the basic essence of education. And for that, we teachers are there. There are 5 roles of a teacher: becoming a leader, a teacher to be resourceful, a teacher to be a supporter, a teacher to be a mentor, a teacher to be a helping hand, and last but not the least, the teacher has to be a learner. And if the teacher is a learner, then only he can become a resourceful person, a supporter, a mentor, and a helping hand. So a teacher means lifelong learner is known as the teacher. So a teacher is a leader. If your action inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, become more, then you are the real leader. So let all of us can become a leader so that we can inspire the people, inspire the stakeholders to dream more, to learn more, to become more, so that all of us can become the leader. When I say, if we teach today's students as we taught yesterday, we are going to rob them for tomorrow. I said earlier also about this. So let us teach the future in the present to make them understand how are they going to face the future. Let us fill all the skills in them, the futuristic skills, the 21st century skills in the minds and hearts of the students. I told about this. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me, I understand, I learn. Let all of us come together to make the students learn. And this is what blending the things, blending the students with the teachers and mending the minds of the students. If we teachers are not going to mend the minds of the students, who is going to do it? Because students are more with us than with their family members, more with us than with their parents. So it is the duty of every individual teacher to understand the students in a much better way. We need to create a congenial atmosphere of learning where there is no pressure. There is only enjoyment. There is only fun of learning. And when the fun of learning is there, then the need of the hour is to introduce Gurukulam practice in the modern curriculum. So we need to move from curriculum to Gurukulam. And that's the basic essence of our life. We need to practice all these things. So Gurukulam must come into action. Thank you all. What a teacher writes on the blackboard of life can never be erased. Let all of us become the teachers and educators for each one of us. Even the students can also be the teachers for others, because someone has said, the child is the father of a man. So let the child be the father of a man for all the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Sir, thank you so much. Proceed, Surya. Please proceed.
Ma'am. Thank you so much, sir. Today we had an opportunity to listen to your thoughtful lecture, and this will surely be going to encourage us to blend the trends and mend our minds in future. Your speech enriched our knowledge, gave warmth to our hearts, and awakened our minds. It was very interesting, innovative, and breathtaking. Thank you once again, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can
Thank you,
go
sir.
for the discussion, Surya. Any questions are there now?
Yes, ma'am.
Students and faculty, you can go for an interactive session for 10 minutes.
That's why ended up.
Yes, sir. Yes. We can have some interactive sessions, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Friends,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
have any questions?
I just begin, ma'am. I take 2 minutes to observe of what Dr. Ghanshyam has spoken so far, and then to ask 1 or 2 questions by way of clarification, ma'am. Professor, this is Varadarajan. I have been listening to you. I think
you, sir.
today is the most fortunate day in my life. I also have been teaching for the past 21 years, but what you have just spoken is mind-blowing in terms of what we need to do more in the classroom. Thank you, sir. And you reminded us, the Tamil people in Tamil Nadu, the actor T. Rajendra, number
Yeah.
1. Because T. Rajendra is a famous actor who is also a director, a music composer, a multi-talented personality. And your punning on words, your idiomatic expressions, your catchy phrases, the enthusiasm with which you speak, everything is actually, they add a beauty to what you have just wanted us to imbibe. Number 2, sir, the way you prepare your slides. Even we do a lot of webinars, we speak, but except words, we don't show anything in our screen. And you have brought everything in fine. And thank you very much for that. And Professor, when it comes to questioning time, you talked about the curriculum. We do have, take the forum you spoke, MVM Government College. It is a non-autonomous college, right? It is not an autonomous college like other colleges. How do they change their curriculum? They do it only once in 3 years, like the Mother Teresa University does that. And I work for an autonomous college where every year there is a change. At the end of the day, Professor, after this Board of Studies meeting or Academic Council meeting, we talk about this OBE, outcome-based education, CBCS, etc. Even we make it in the examination, the results, even while evaluating the scripts, everything is mechanically done in order to attract a NAC score and other things. What is your opinion on that, Professor? I don't think the changes that we do in order to make outcome quite prominent, it is only for the sake of getting scores. It doesn't reach the, what do you call, the children or
The masses.
yeah, not only masses, the stakeholders,
The gainers.
students.
Yeah, the gainers. Yeah, the gainers, the students, right?
Yeah, your response, Professor. Thank you very much.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, sir. Sir, thank you very much for your very important observation. I really deem it my honor getting appreciation from you. And as far as you told about non-autonomous college wherein they follow the university syllabus, I urge all the university people also, like we do have the Board of Studies meeting, the university must analyze the jurisdiction of its, and the university must also work towards the needs and demands of the stakeholder first. And accordingly, the Board of Studies are to be directed to prepare the syllabus based on the needs and demands. Every individual university has the autonomy to see to it. Even in the CBCS also, where we call it choice-based credit system, there are so many choices are there. And even in colleges, I have seen the students are made to select only the thing which the teacher teaches. And even if the students are taking some other subject, for example, there is no one to teach. but we always discourage the students not to take. Then what is the use of CBCS then? When there is a choice, and even in that choice also, if the student doesn't have the choice to take, then where are we leading to? So these things in the non-autonomous colleges, the university must take action. The syllabus has to be changed depending on the demands and needs every year. Not only for the NAC. NAC says the experiential learning has to be there. NAC asks for how many courses, even the diplomas and the certificates you have introduced in your college or in your university. When they ask all these things, it means that the university need to take some concrete steps and actions to change the syllabi. It's not for 3 years together. It should be seen, it should be observed, and it should be rectified every year. Even if some of the things are to be added, then modification has to be done every year by the university. How can we say that the syllabus could be made for 3 years? In the first year, when the students comes and he studies the same syllabus, and for 3 years we are locking it. There is a locking period in the Board of Studies. There should not be a locking period. All the time, like the website is dynamic. The syllabus too should be dynamic. That's what I feel, sir.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you very much for your response.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Varadarajan and Dr. Shyam.
Yeah, ma'am. Any students are there?
Students, do you have any questions? Kindly post the questions, please.
Even comments are welcome. If you don't have any questions, even discussions are welcome.
Hello,
See
sir.
this platform.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes. Yes, good afternoon, ma'am.
Sir, I am R. Kartika Devi, Assistant Professor of English, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, sir. Are you able to hear
Yes,
my
ma'am.
words, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
sir. It is not a question. I am asking you a question. It is my observation only. You mentioned different roles of your teacher, and you bring out the fact that it is not only the job of the teacher to fill the mind with the information, but it is the responsibility of the teacher to mold various dimensions of students' personality, like emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. At that time, I immediately think of our old gurus mentioned in our Itikasas and Puranas, like Dronacharya. Hats off to you, sir. And once again, your particular reference to Kalidasa, and even in our grammar classes, most of the teachers used to mention this statement. Kalidasa is the Shakespeare of India, in order to give examples for the use of article that before a proper noun you should not use the, but in certain cases you can use the. For that, this sentence will be often given, and I want to give. And this realization of Indianness, the greatness of Indianness, was very much shadowed because of Western style education. And your lecture is a kind of an eye opener, and we must bring back our old system of education so that we can bring the changes in our people's mental makeup. Also, we can bring back the glory of our past India. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. It's only India which has Nalanda and Takshashila. So let us all create Nalanda and Takshashila once again. Because nowhere in the world Nalanda and Takshashila were there.
Yes, sir.
So it's the need of the hour to
Yes,
make
sir.
the students
Of course, you are
what
true, sir.
technology is.
Yes, sir.
And we are the creators of technology. Means we are very
sir. Yes,
creative. So let's all those creativities could be brought into the humanities.
Yeah.
And what is humanity? Humanity
Yes,
is
sir.
nothing but human amenities. And if we fail to understand
Yes,
the
sir.
human amenities, then where is humanity?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dear
Thank you, Dr.
participants.
Kartika Devi.
Thank you, ma'am.
Dear participants, if you want to raise questions, please come forward.
May I request all the students not to be fearful of the teachers, please, because all of us are on the same platform, so the students may be fearful of the teachers. Don't be like that. Your teachers will be very happy to see you asking questions.
Even in public Viva was, sir, there are no questions from the participants, and that habit is diminishing. When you ask a question to anybody, you are seen as somebody who encroaches others like they feel. That's why many students are reluctant to ask questions. That we have to encourage. Thank you.
Students, you must make this false and you must make this wrong also. So ask some questions. Yes, ma'am, I think there is no one.
Yes, sir. I hope you have made the session very clear. The topic is very clear. You have reached the students, I hope. It's very, very clear, sir. It's very interesting and highly impressive, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for providing me the opportunity.
It's our pleasure, sir. And we are honored, sir. We are honored.
I'm truly blessed.
Sir, shall I ask my friend to propose vote of thanks,
Yes,
sir?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Surya?
Yes, ma'am. I'm here,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah, may I request Dr. Surya Prabha, Assistant Professor of English, to propose vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to our respected Madam Principal, our esteemed Head of the Department, Dr. G. Angeline, our most valued Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. G. A. Ghanshyam, Professor of English and OASD, Directorate of Higher Education, Chhattisgarh, Raipur, Convener of National Virtual Seminar, Dr. K. M. Sumati, our beloved staff members and student friends. Feeling thankfulness and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. I consider this occasion as an honor and a privilege to propose vote of thanks. Karl Barth said, "Joy is the simplest form of gratitude." It's my pleasure to thank our very motivated and dedicated Madam Principal, who has given a constant support and a lot of encouragement to us to strengthen our academic platform. Thank you, Madam. Thank you so much for presiding over today's National Virtual Seminar. Gratitude is the most exquisite form of courtesy. I want to extend my generous thanks to Dr. G.S. Angeline, Head, Department of English, who is the organizing secretary of this virtual seminar, for rendering right logistic guidance and opportunity. Thank you, Madam. Best teachers teach from the heart and not from the book. On behalf of the Department of English, I would like to thank our chief guest, Dr. G. A. Ghanshyam, who spent his busiest time gracing the occasion. Today, we have the opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this is really an eye-opener for us. Your lecture on blending the trends and mend the minds has enlightened our minds and shown us new trends. Thank you, sir, for sharing with us your words of wisdom. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all the others. I would like to take this opportunity to record my heartfelt thanks for Dr. K. M. Sumati, Assistant Professor of English, who is the convener of this great occasion, who always stands by us, leads us, and inspires us. Thank you, dear ma'am. The root of joy is gratefulness. I'm also very grateful to all our hardworking and sincere staff members, beloved participants from various colleges across our nation. I also thank all the student participants present here for paying your attention and learning. Last but not the least, I feel proud to thank the digital partners of this event, Ms. D. Sangeeta and Ms. M. Balasaraswati and Ms. Gayatri, guest lecturers of our department, for their tremendous contribution to make the event successful. Thank you everyone once again for your gracious presence. Thank you all.
I thank Dr. Varadarajan for joining us. Sir, thank you so much. And always you come with a lot of observations, a lot of suggestions. So thank you so much. Today also you have given your own observations. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It is my luck today to listen to Dr. Ghanshyam, and I thank you for giving this opportunity to listen to you. You reminded me in time in the morning, that's why I could attend it. I forgot, I thought it was next week. That's why I was a bit reluctant to ask you.
Oh,
anyway, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Yes,
much, Dr. Varadarajan, sir. Thank you very much, Sumati ma'am.
Yes, Professor. Yes, Professor. Thank you.
Indeed, it's a
Shyam,
pleasure.
sir, we'll keep in touch with you, Shyam. We'll stay connected in future academic calendar too. So still we are going ahead on IQAC NAC third cycle, reaccreditation cycle. So we'll keep in touch with you, sir. Still we need to conduct a lot of programs.
Yes, I'll be
We'll
there.
keep in touch with you.
Thank
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.